All right, it is off to a very good start, and great crowds lining the street downtown, and great organization, just as you would expect. And that is what we are going to see during the course of the day. It's going to take many hours to make the way here to Cobb County. But right now in downtown Atlanta, it is a sight to see, an experience to be a part of, and something that a lot of kids will be talking about many years from now. I was with my parents when I was lining the street, and we saw all of the great Braves of 2021 as they made their way past us.
Oh, that's incredible, because, you know, you talk about your memories from the 1995 World Series when you've seen so many kids out there. Our reporters have done a great job so far of talking to the fans, and a lot of those guys on the buses have very much deserved the cheers and the crowds that are out there today. Jack Peterson was throwing those pearls out. I tried to convince Jeff to get a pearl necklace. He wouldn't do it. I'm still working on that, guys. We did see Adam Duvall, Eddie Rosario, Jorge Soler, and remember, all three of those guys were acquired after the trade deadline. So they were on different teams really just not that long ago, just a couple of months ago. And then the fact that they were able to come in here and help this team win a World Series championship is truly, I can't say it enough. It's really unbelievable. And I heard Caitlin earlier talking about the chemistry of this team, or perhaps it was Cheryl. And the chemistry of this team comes from a lot of things, but number one, it starts with Jack Peterson. He got into that clubhouse. He kept things loose. He even said that when he walked into the clubhouse when they had a losing record, he said it felt like guys didn't necessarily want to be there anymore. So he had to decide, am I going to make things different? Are we going to turn this thing around, or are we just going to be miserable? So him and Stephen Vogt actually got together and decided to change the clubhouse atmosphere. Electric. It's crazy, because if you watched them prior to every single game in the World Series, the NLCS, the NLDS, they were as loose as it gets, and just like you're watching them on the floats right now. I mean, they were just like they were playing another baseball game. It didn't matter to them that it was a big stage, and I think that's a lot of the reason why they're here, Jeff, is that they were able to have a really great chemistry early on, and Jack Peterson, the forefront of that. He deserves every minute of this parade today. Luke Jackson actually going live from his Instagram on top of the bus right now. It looks like so much fun. It looks like the players are having a great time, and they deserve every second of it.
Well, some of the best Braves teams of the 1990s are teams that did not win a world championship. The 1995 team was obviously a great one, but there are many of us who believe 1996 was better, the team that was defeated by Jim Leyritz and the New York Yankees in that year. This is a team that has stunned everyone.
Stunned.
You know? And there is a myriad of reasons for their success. Obviously, the bullpen did their job, the starting pitching, but the ability to hit home runs, that's the difference. When you hit home runs the way this Atlanta Braves team did in this postseason, that is all the difference in the world. That is the one thing missing from the Braves' resume in the 1990s in the postseason, where they went stone cold offensively in October. They did not hit the long ball, and that makes all the difference in baseball. This parade now winding its way through downtown Atlanta, and it is these great kind of trucks, double-decker like buses, and you know, where all the fans can see all of the players. There's a great line of sight to see all of them. You know, in 1995, there was also a double-decker bus, sort of the same kind of transportation. And then in '91, they were using antique Mustangs at that time.
Oh, wow.
And that was crazy. That's where fans were swarming the players. They were jumping on board, and players were trying to escape fans back 30 years ago. So lesson learned. Which
they're preventing that today. That's not going to happen today.
No more vintage Mustangs. Lesson learned by Atlanta all those decades
Although
ago.
There are quite a few players on their own individual vehicles, and I saw Ronnie Snicker. She's wearing kind of like a, I don't know how to describe it. It's a jacket, but there's little baseball outlines on her jacket today. She is, of course, the wife of manager Brian Snicker. She has been so emotional through this whole thing, as you can imagine, Jeff, because Brian Snicker, he's been with the Braves his entire tenure as a manager, not necessarily with the big league club. He's climbed his way through the farm system. Ronnie Snicker, his wife, literally before they got to Myrtle Beach, she got a call the day they were starting baseball that said, hey, do you know how your husband likes his clubhouse? And she said, no, I have no idea. And all of a sudden, her son Troy, and a couple of other people were getting this clubhouse ready. So moments like that, when they were in the farm leagues, and now to a World Series championship, she deserves this as much as Brian Snicker does. Those two have worked so hard. They've come from the bottom, and now they're all the way at the top. It's really, honestly, remarkable to watch that family. Ronnie's been very excited. I think I saw Max Fried just a little while ago, the winning pitcher for Game 6 in the World Series, the ace that got it done. Finally, we saw shades of what Max Fried was earlier in the year again. He deserves all of the cheers and celebrations today as well, and it looks like the crowds are thinning out where we're looking at, but there's been a really heavy presence of people downtown and here at the Battery too. I think, you know, while we've been talking, I've seen more and more people just piling in here. It's truly amazing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be intriguing to see these crowds grow during the course of the afternoon, and certainly they will.
Nobody's at school today, Jeff.
Yeah, but a lot of people are working. So
are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure, I think a lot of people have called. I mean, we're working, but I think there's a lot of people missing from work today.
Yeah, I mean, these crowds are big, but I think you're going to see bigger crowds out here.
At the Battery?
Yeah, I really do. I think that's where you're going to see this great confluence of Braves fans, where they are used to being, and it certainly is conducive to, you know, you got restaurants, you got places to eat, you got fellow fans to sort of hang out, and then you've got a ceremony coming up at Truist Park later in the afternoon. So we are looking at the trolley here. Clang, clang, clang went the trolley, as the old song goes.
I drove, you know, when I was driving in today, float right here where you can see it looks like a bunch of people waving. I can't get a clear shot of what it actually looks like.
We have a hard time from our vantage point of we can make out the figures of these buses, but individual players we have a very hard time seeing. So those of you at home probably have a better view of what we are seeing, so you will see these players before us.
Well, I saw a cowboy hat, which could only mean that that's AJ Mentor, and you were talking about the bullpen. That bullpen, truly outstanding.
Shocking.
Really outstanding. I mean, last year, when you think about what they were doing, it was practically nothing, and they were giving up games for the Braves time and time again.
Well, you had an Astros team that came into the World Series where they had averaging 6 runs per game, and their offense had been smacking everybody around.
There's Eddie Rosario. I can make out the glasses. He had some gold sneakers on today. He's doing the chop, Eddie Rosario. He's who you can thank for beating the Dodgers. He was the NLCS MVP. He's one of those acquisitions that Alex Anthopoulos had in the middle of the year. Blooper! Oh, look at Blooper on the fire truck, just doing the chop. Incredible. Tastes like victory, Jeff, is what that bus says.
Well, you have the great anchors of Atlanta life involved in this parade with Coca-Cola and Delta, Home Depot sponsoring all of these. And of course, the Atlanta Braves, which have been, you know, they were the symbol, the first symbol of Atlanta, going from, you know, a small town in the southeast to major league status in 1966 when Mr. Bartholomew, Bill Bartholomew, a banker who owned the Milwaukee Brewers in the 1960s. He was a Chicago banker, and he had this idea of bringing the franchise here. Held the franchise until Ted Turner purchased it in 1976. But the Atlanta Braves have always signified something very special for the last 50 years in this part of the country, and certainly this city and this metropolitan area as well.
And you know what I've learned, at least over the last couple of weeks, is that everybody knows Braves country doesn't just exist in Atlanta. It is seriously nationwide, and especially all throughout the South. We had people actually taking screenshots from South Florida and showing you that they were tuning into the broadcast today. It's not just South Florida. It is Alabama. It is Georgia. It is everywhere. Texas. I mean, I get messages all the time.
Well, that began 40 years ago with the Superstation, WTBS, and you know, Ted Turner had this idea that he was going to build this station, and he was going to do it through the auspices of Major League Baseball. He ends up purchasing the team in '76. He hires a couple of announcers that help lead the way, and Skip Carey, Pete Van Wieren, Ernie Johnson Jr., who made the difference, and later on Don Sutton, the Hall of Famer, who has also passed away this past year. But you know, they became America's team. With all due respect to the Dallas Cowboys, America's team during that stretch were the Atlanta Braves. And baseball has always held that special place in the South as well, as Major League Baseball rosters have been constituted through the 20th century by, players from the South. And baseball in the South has always been something special. It truly has been.
And we're really seeing that come to fruition today. It's really remarkable to see how special this moment is, this day, this week. It has been such an exciting time. And what's even better to me is that this Braves team has been surprising. This is not, household names. These are some guys 2-3 years into their career and getting a World Series ring. I was talking to Austin Riley, and one of the first things he said to me was, I'm very excited, and I'm excited to win a World Series championship, but I'm more excited for guys like Freddie Freeman, for Brian Snitker, for the guys who have really fought to be here and had been in this organization for a long time. So I think that's interesting, and some of these guys are really lucky to just kind of walk into a World Series championship.
Yeah, I mean, it really is amazing. I just, we say it over and over about we didn't see it coming, but you know what? I think there was the assumption when Soroka and Ronald Acuna go down that, well, this year is a wash.
Yeah.
You'll do your best to try to move on, maybe get a roster that will fare well, but, certainly not go on the kind of reign of terror that they did during the postseason. It was a remarkable run, really unprecedented, unexpected. And one of those championship seasons where everybody seems to have an extraordinary season at the same time.
Yeah.
You see that sometimes with championship teams. The Atlanta Falcons in '98 had that kind of season where guys who had been good players but never great players, and for that one special season became great. And the hope with the Braves is that they will have more great seasons to come, and certainly there are enough young players on the roster, and you re-sign Freddie Freeman. Who's to say with Acuna coming back, Soroka coming back, that they cannot repeat in 2022.
Which it is hard to repeat a World Series championship. It's been a very long time since that's even happened. It was the turn of the new millennium, the last time someone was able to repeat as a World Series champion. But who's to say that they can't do it?
Absolutely.
And I'll be honest with you, even when Charlie Morton went out in the postseason, I got really nervous. I started to think, okay, there's not many starting pitchers left for the Braves. They have Ian Anderson, they have Max Fried, but Max Fried at the time, remember, was really struggling. He didn't have the Game 6 Max Fried that we saw against the Astros. We saw the Max Fried that we saw against the Brewers and the Dodgers, and it wasn't great. So there was a lot of nerves when it went into Max Fried, Ian Anderson. They didn't have Huascar Ynoa anymore, and so you're looking at bullpen game after bullpen game. They did 2 straight against the Astros, and it just made me nervous because they didn't really have any other starting pitching. But then Max Fried, we talked about him. Game 6 Max Fried, he has a lot to do. There he is. He's a lot to do with the reason why they won a World Series championship. And every player that I talked to on the field after the game as well said Max Fried is the reason we're here. He pitched incredible. It was a shutout, 7-0 victory to get that World Series championship ring. So
well, there's a lot of irony in all of this that Brian Snitker had to cobble together starting pitching and also a bullpen, and is able to turn that into a world championship. Conversely, in the 1990s, the Braves had perhaps the greatest starting pitching of the 20th century in Major League Baseball, and some great relieving as well, and they were able to only win one world championship in 1995. So, baseball is crazy. I mean, the more you think you understand baseball and you understand how to put together a roster and what it takes to be a champion, then you see a team like the 2021 Braves and you go, wait a minute, that just blew up the template of what the expectation is.
Everything that you literally thought you knew about baseball, I think the Braves kind of reversed that for everyone this year, because this was an 88-win team. Remember, they won 44 games before the All-Star break, 44 games after the All-Star break, and they took down teams like the Dodgers, who had won 100 games. You had the Astros, who were a 90-win team, and then an 88-win team comes in there and wins a World Series championship.
Yeah, I mean, the Braves are the only team in Major League Baseball that were bettered by the Brewers, by the Dodgers, and by the Astros, 35 games better than how they fared during the regular season. To make up that kind of difference and win a title is staggering, and it is mind-boggling.
Truly.
We are going to take a break. We have so much to talk about today, so much to show you, and so much to celebrate as the world champion Atlanta Braves make their trek across Fulton County toward Cobb County And Braves country is everywhere today, tonight, and forever with the way things are going. We'll take a break. We continue right after this.
11 Alive's home base for the championship chase. Sponsored by Cortland at the Battery, Atlanta. Next level apartment living.
Live News is now on Roku. Stream live newscasts and watch on demand. 11 Alive News. Stream now on Roku.
Crash is definitely the funniest.
He makes it enjoyable as far as the traffic, be it good or bad.
He just feels like your Uncle Joe that's on the show that's out there to make everybody laugh. You feel comfortable yet bring important traffic reports.
Weather can't run from the all-new 11 Alive Thunder Truck, a mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge.
They come in every day with the same spirit, with the same professionalism.
You can see the passion that comes with their reporting.
Even delivering the bad news is just a great environment that they're presenting to us.
How can you really tell whether a viral story is true or false? 11 Alive's Verify breaks down the claims with facts and experts so you can know whether you're seeing truth or misinformation. Watch Verify only on 11 Alive News.
Morning news is just a little bit of everything to give everyone what they need to start their day. Chesley does a fantastic job of making it relatable and making it digestible. Crash with Traffic makes it so interesting, and I love his energy. Francesca is so smart and brilliant, and I love the way she researches stories. You're always going to get the most accurate information.
Watch Aisha, Francesca, Chesley, and Crash on the 11 Alive Morning News, weekdays 5 to 7.
Chesley, I just think that he's a great weather guy. He really knows what he's doing.
I love the weather because Chesley has been absolutely fabulous.
I like the way that Chesley will take the time to explain something, and I feel like I'm sitting in his classroom.
The Locked On Podcast is your new place to keep up with your team every day.
11 Alive News presents live coverage of the Braves Victory Parade.
It is a day and night of high adventure in Atlanta Metro, celebrating. It is a day and night of high adventure celebrating the 2021 World Champion Atlanta Braves. Good afternoon, everyone. It is afternoon, isn't it? Yes,
I think so. I don't know. Who even knows anymore?
I'm Jeff Hellinger along with Maria Martin, and we are here at the Battery outside Truist Park as we await the arrival of the Braves via double-decker bus, via truck, via whatever transportation they may be affixed to at this moment. Still in downtown Atlanta, waving to fans and celebrating this unexpected championship, which makes it even more sweet. It is a cold, blustery day, warming up a little bit, but apparently not enough for many people. It is it is a day of hand warmers. And a day of trying to stay warm any way that you might.
Yeah, you know, I saw people lined up at about 7:30 this morning and 8 o'clock this morning. There were people with those heaters, you know, the small ones with their little kids out there. I mean, people are dedicated to the Braves. It's been a whirlwind. I still can't believe we've been talking about a World Series championship, and here we are with the Braves today. I still don't even believe it happened. I was physically there, and I really honestly still can't believe it.
Well, most of the school districts are out, from Fulton to Gwinnett to Cobb. To Marietta. Private schools are also out today, so you know there has been no excuse for kids not to be here with parents or certainly to be here on their own. We're going to go to Rebecca Lindstrom right now, who is on Cobb Parkway. Rebecca, tell us exactly where you are, and that'll give us a better sense of what you're showing us.
That's right. I am right where the parade is going to start here on Cobb Parkway. As soon as they make it up I-75 and folks here started getting here, you know, as soon as the light hit, you started to see the people putting out the chairs, the cars, the tailgating. It has been amazing. I actually saw one family that has a huge TV out here, so we were able to watch the parade as it went through Atlanta, and I asked them, is that going to make it less exciting when they actually make it here to Cobb Parkway? And they said absolutely not. It just helps them get even more pumped up and ready for when it does arrive. Now, I want to take a quick moment because what is great as you walk the crowds out here is everybody has a story, but I love this story. Tell me, okay, this is Chris. I know Chris, because Chris, I think, is going to be a good luck charm for the Braves for life. We're going to head over to Dad here. Tell us, why is Chris, we're thinking, going to be such a great good luck charm?
So Chris is only about 2 months old, and we were able to go to 2 of the Braves games, Friday and Saturday, the 2 that they got to win, and they didn't get to go to Sunday, and we unfortunately lost. Still won in Game 6, but maybe if Chris was there, we would have closed it out here in Atlanta.
Now, the entire family was not able to make it to all the different World Series games, but you guys are still huge Braves fans. What does just this day mean for you and your family?
It is awesome. It is a dream come true, like Freddie has said multiple times. Like, I've lived in Atlanta my whole life, and I've just been waiting to be able to do a parade like this and come out here and be with all the Braves fans of Atlanta and just have a good time and celebrate.
What do you think of the turnout? Is this what you expected?
It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people, but we expected that, so we headed out early.
When did you guys get out here, and what was your plan to stay entertained while waiting for the parade?
Well, we had bigger plans, but we have a newborn, so we didn't make it here as early as we wanted to. I think it was like 10:30.
Yeah, we live over in Loganville, so drove an hour and a half to get over here to celebrate with everybody. So left early in the morning to get out here, and there were already people here when we got here.
All right, girls, can I get a big Go Braves, chant? Go Braves! So that is awesome. You can just get a feel for the energy here. I'm sure if I were just to shout to anyone in the crowd, well, let's just give it a real quick go. Do we have any Go Braves that are cheering out here? Are we excited?
Let's go Braves! Let's go!
Just a preview of what it's going to be like when the parade actually hits. Right now, we're going to toss it over there to Crash and Sheba. They're just a little bit further down on Cobb Parkway.
Yeah, we're just about a quarter mile from you, Rebecca, and we're in a bit of a lull here. People are just patiently waiting for this parade to start. We do hear that the parade in Atlanta has been going really, really fast, and I actually just talked to the communications director for Cobb County, and he says there's a holding area very close to here, and he does not believe the parade in Cobb County will start earlier than 2 p.m. So 2 p.m. is still the official start time as far as we know.
Yeah, we can actually see the flashing lights that are right down the way here. This part of the route, phase 2, I guess you would call it, only about a mile and a quarter, if that. Once they start at Riverwood, make their way up here towards Acres Mill where we are, and then get to 285 in Battery, Atlanta, it's going to be a quick ride. So hopefully they'll slow things down. Now, I've heard a couple of rumors. There's a lot of fun going on in downtown. Obviously, folks are having a great time. The Canyon of Champions was what I heard coming through the buildings. I love that right there. Let's coin that phrase immediately. Apparently, and this is all just rumor, Ozzy Albies struck a tree while in one of the buses. He's okay. He's okay, but they're tending to the tree apparently. And then Jock Peterson is hanging pearls on cameras. So hopefully our camera guy can get up close.
Are you kidding or are you serious?
No, I'm being dead serious.
Oh,
these are all rumors that I'm hearing from friends that are down there.
Okay.
So they're having a lot of fun. The Braves are having a lot of fun. The fans are having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And this crowd, which like you said, they're a little subdued right now. We are in a lull. I think what happened was we all went over to the hamburger truck there and had lunch, and now we're just so full we're ready for a nap.
People have been eating and drinking since very early this morning. They're trying to conserve their energy before the parade comes through here. There are thousands and thousands of people. So I ran into this here. Come between us. I ran into this young man earlier today with his mom. She's over there to the left of me. So what brings you out here?
Well, I'm a diehard Braves fan. I'm from Atlanta, so I came out here to represent my team. First time they've won a championship in 26 years, and I'm so happy for them. Go Braves.
Were you able to go out and watch any of the games at all?
No, I watched them at my house, and when they won, it was a final strikeout, and it said Braves World Series champions. All I could do was just cry.
I think a lot of people were crying with you. What are you looking forward to the most when this parade comes through today? Who are you looking to see?
I'm looking to see Freddie Freeman. The reason why is because he's been there for so long, and I know he's wanted this for the last 12 years, and for him to finally get that World Series win, it's amazing, and that's what I'm really looking forward to see.
You're going to make the whole crowd out here cry, I tell you. Thank you so much.
No
Tell
problem.
the people your name.
My name is Daryl.
Daryl. Thank you so much, Daryl. From where?
Atlanta.
All right, representing Atlanta. We're going to go to a commercial break, and we'll see you right back around here.
The power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on the ground conditions. The 11 Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge.
They come in every day with the same spirit, with the same professionalism.
You can see the passion that comes with their reporting.
Even delivering the bad news is just a great environment that they're presenting to us.
How can you really tell whether a viral story is true or false? 11 Lives Verify breaks down the claims with facts and experts so you can know whether you're seeing truth or misinformation. Watch Verify only on 11 Alive News.
Morning news is just a little bit of everything to give everyone what they need to start their day. Chesley does a fantastic job of making it relatable and making it digestible. Crash with Traffic makes it so interesting, and I love his energy. Francesca is so smart and brilliant, and I love the way she researches stories. You're always going to get the most accurate information.
Watch Aisha, Francesca, Chesley, and Crash on the 11 Alive Morning News, weekdays 5 to 7.
Chesley, I just think that he's a great weather guy. He really knows what he's doing.
I love the weather because Chesley has been absolutely fabulous.
I like the way that Chesley will take the time to explain something, and I feel like I'm sitting in his classroom.
The Locked On Podcast is your new place to keep up with your team every day. Falcons, Hawks, Braves, Bulldogs. Expert analysis on Atlanta and SEC sports. Listen and subscribe at 11alive.com/lockedon.
News happens fast. Stream it faster. 11 Alive News is now on Roku. Stream live newscasts and watch on demand. 11 Alive News. Stream now on Roku.
Crash is definitely the funniest.
He makes it enjoyable as far as the
11 Alive News presents live coverage of the Braves Victory Parade.
And welcome back to our continuing coverage of the Braves Victory Parade right here on 11 Alive. I'm Chris Holcomb along with Jennifer Bellamy, and we are on the field right now at Truist Park. You've been watching the parade. This is where everything is going to culminate in just a little while with the players arriving here and a big concert going to be taking place. And it is sold out. We say sold out because the tickets were free, but you still had to go online and order. And every seat is allegedly going to be taken. Now, as you've been watching the parade, you know they're running a little bit ahead of schedule.
Yeah,
but you
just a little.
talked with
Just
one of the
a little
Braves officials about how that's going to impact us here.
Yeah, we spoke with someone with Braves Communications. They're telling us that they do know that they got through the Atlanta leg just a little bit quickly, but things are still going to be on schedule, they're telling us, for the Cobb County portion. So stick with the time frame that you've been given for Cobb County. We do know that things have changed a little bit out here. Earlier, they were getting ready with the audio and music checks for that big concert, but now we have some fans that are actually in here inside Truist Park. They're able to kind of watch things from here and be in place, be in position for when the team arrives, for when the big celebration starts. And Chris, you actually got some information about what we can expect when we get back here.
Yeah, you see behind us the stage, which is right back here. Beyond that stage, out towards center field, is a big red carpet that stretches all the way across, all the way from the back wall there up to that stage. And they will be introducing the players, player by player. They'll walk down that red carpet, end up on the stage. They'll, of course, have some Braves officials speaking. Mayor Bottoms is going to be here as well. And then they're going to do a Q&A with some of the players, almost like they're interviewing them up on the stage. So having a little bit of fun with them. And then the concert, they still think that's going to be around 4:30 this afternoon for the big concert here, too.
Yeah, so I presume some folks are hoping and might have time to move from their position along the parade route and then get up here to Cobb County for some of the action that's going to take place in Truist Park. We're going to send it back to you for now.
go. They want us to hold out for a little bit. So we'll just keep talking about a little bit of what we're seeing out here. We know that the concessions are open. That's some new information that we're getting, so everybody can come out here, have a little lunch for the folks that are going to be here.
Yes.
We understand the seats are assigned, so folks aren't all crowded together. They're kind of spread throughout as they're waiting for more people. We know some people have been waiting since early hours of the morning.
Yeah.
Chesley was seeing some folks come out to Truist Park to the Battery during the 11 Alive morning news because people just really wanted to be in the atmosphere.
Yeah, Steven, our photographer right now, can you kind of spin around and let's just show how we do have some of the folks who are coming in right now. Jennifer and I were wondering, we were hearing chants outside of the gates this morning. People were lined up waiting to get in, and we were wondering if it was going to be a free-for-all for seats, but no, they are all assigned, so everybody's filing in, finding the seat that they got online yesterday when everything became available here. So it is filling up, but people here in Cobb County are knowing that it's really not supposed to start until later, so they may be taking their time before everything fills up. And it is going to be so electric here. Our city is just so excited to celebrate these players and this team, and it's going to be so cool to see apparently every seat filled, and it is going to be rocking, I'm sure.
And I have to mention, since I have the chief meteorologist with me, a little bit more sun out here.
We love it.
It's warming up. I can feel my toes again. So that's great for all of the folks that are going to be out here. We're going to send it over to Jeff and Maria that are in the Battery right now. Hey, guys.
That's what made it mean so much. I mean, winning a world championship, especially professional sports, it's so hard to do. Let alone all the stuff that we overcame this year. I mean,
How exciting is this day for Braves country?
Yeah, it's just been a long time coming, I think.
Okay, we're back. Sorry, everyone. A little bit of technical difficulties.
Upon further review, we'll start again.
We will start again. And that's what happens when there's probably millions of people around here, and the Battery is starting to get packed a little bit more. You can see behind us there is just a plethora of people, but we've got a really important guest with us today, Grant McCulley, our Braves insider. Grant knows all things about the Atlanta Braves and has been an Atlanta Braves fan ever since you were a little kid. So this is going to be a really special day for you.
Yeah, I don't think I'm alone in Braves country as far as how long can you wait for a World Series. The answer we found out was 26 years. And when we were going in the 90s, you thought, hey, every year or two you're going to get back here. But this, I think, for Braves fans, a long time coming, an improbable run as well. I know, Jeff, you covered a lot of those great teams throughout the 1990s. This kind of felt like a microcosm of the kinds of teams that we saw back then, especially in the improbable category, which, of course, was how we kickstarted in 91.
Two things surprised me about this, and we talked about this a little bit during the last segment, was for all of the great pitching, starting pitching the Braves had, they get one World Series championship out of that. That is still head shaking. Yeah. And the other thing that's head shaking is during those Octobers in the 1990s, the Braves didn't hit the ball. Man, they were stone cold offensively. They didn't hit for power. This team hit for power in the postseason. That made the difference. When you hit home runs the way this Braves team did in the last few weeks, the last month, good things are going to happen. And they, you combine that with cobbling together a pitching staff. I mean, it's mind-boggling. It is astonishing to think that they were able to pull it off when those other Braves teams were not.
Yeah, it was kind of the polar opposite. I mean, if you go back and look at 1995, the World Series MVP was a starting pitcher. You look at 2021, the World Series MVP is a slugging outfielder who hit 3 go-ahead home runs in a 6-game series. And it was, I think, offensively speaking, we've seen the Braves really turn that corner the past few years, but it has kind of gotten quiet in October. But they did just enough on most nights and more than enough on some nights this October to back up as they just made it work with the pitching staff built largely on the bullpen.
Got to hit the long ball in modern baseball to win.
Yeah, you have to, and they did.
If you can't, forget it.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I think Alex Anthopoulos did a phenomenal job. I think no one's going to argue that, especially after the trade deadline. He got all those pieces in the outfield, and Jorge Soler being one of those. Is there one in particular where you were most shocked by maybe the production they had? Maybe when they came in, you were thinking, why him? And now you're a little bit more shocked?
Yeah, I think Eddie Rosario kind of has to be that guy because you also had to wait about a month for him to finally get to make his Braves debut because he was on the injured list in Cleveland. And it's just great to see that every one of those guys made some kind of contribution. It was Jock Peterson first in the initial aftermath of losing Ronald Acuna Jr., a guy that you're not going to make one trade and replace. And as it turned out, each one of the guys that came over, whether it was Jorge Soler, who was batting under 200 in Kansas City, whether it was Adam Duvall, who we know really well, who ended up leading the National League in RBI, or whether it was Eddie Rosario who jumped in this mix as well. It was quantity and it was quality, but Rosario, especially once we got to the NLCS where the Dodgers were waiting, somebody had to play the hero, and he was most certainly the offensive hero.
Have we ever seen a general manager, a trading deadline kind of example that has had the unbridled success that happened here?
I don't know. I mean,
I'm hard-pressed to think of. I mean, every slot machine poll came up with 3 cherries.
It really did. I mean, it was just one of those hot streaks, if you will. He was sitting down at the table. You just wanted to be around to see what he was going to do next. And offensively, they needed the answers. Pitching staff-wise, I think, losing Charlie Morton in the World Series certainly changed things. It certainly challenged this club. But Max Fried stepped up, pitched the game of his life, and the biggest game that he was going to be asked to pitch, at least to this point. And I think you saw something out of Ian Anderson that Jeff felt a little bit like what Steve Avery was giving the Braves in October's way back when the whole run began, and the Braves went from being a team that just wanted to find a way to get into October to a team that feels like it could be there every year.
Rosario reminded me a little of Tony Tarasco.
Oh, yeah?
There's an obscure reference.
It's an obscure reference, but for Braves fans who saw each and every team be just a little bit different, I think the continuity is built around starting pitching. Here, you've got a club that had to figure out a way to do it without arguably the best player in all of baseball, who was not available to them. I don't think the Braves in the 90s ever really had to go through that kind of a setback.
No, and it seems like the Braves of the 90s were always running into a Braves team of 2021. That is hot hitting, hot
at the
pitching,
right time.
unexpected. Where did that come from? Whether it was the Padres, the D-backs, or the Marlins.
It really was. And as you look at the Braves World Series teams, I think this one's going to have a unique story that we're going to be talking about for a long time. And I know that Braves fans, we love our history. We love the Hall of Famers and the nostalgia that comes from those teams of the 90s, with 95 being the one that got over the top. But now when you walk through Truist Park and when you think about the Braves World Series teams, highlights from this year's club is going to be playing for a long time to come, and that's a pretty cool feeling, I'm sure, for all 26 plus of the guys that made it happen.
Don't you feel there's a more emotion with this team? Because, look, in 95, the expectation was, look, the Braves are the best team in Major League Baseball. Anything short of the Commissioner's Trophy is a bust.
Yeah.
Therefore, there wasn't the same kind of energy and enthusiasm, even along the parade route in 1995, that I feel like we're seeing today. That level of expectation has stirred the hearts and minds of a lot of Braves fans.
Yeah, and Maria, you were around this team in Houston and got to talk to these guys. And I think around the time of the Jock Peterson trade, right after Ronald Acuna went down, they kind of had to convince themselves that they were the team that could do the things that it's done the past 3 years. They kind of needed almost a transplant of some confidence from somewhere else, and they got a bunch of guys who were willing and able to donate the power that they needed to get things rolling. But it seemed like a club that the more it started to win, the more it convinced itself that, hey, this is not an accident. We got something special here, and they got hot at exactly the right time.
It's really weird. I was talking about it earlier on the broadcast because Jock Peterson was discussing how him and Stephen Vogt walked into that clubhouse and saw a bunch of miserable guys because they weren't winning at the time. They weren't even close to 500 at the time. And Jock even said when he got traded from the Cubs, he was thinking, oh, I don't want to go to Atlanta. They're not winning baseball games. They don't have Ronald Acuna Jr. He was really skeptical himself. He walked into the clubhouse and he decided, I'm going to make things different around here, and he certainly did that. Even just being around him in BP, I mean, he keeps things so loose. There was no music. I remember I was standing in Houston and there was no music being played at the time. He turned around and he said, who do I have to talk to turn the music on? And you're thinking, okay, this is not the World Series. This is just a normal regular season game. I mean, it was really remarkable to watch all of them just be loose every single game. It didn't matter if it's the NLDS, NLCS, World Series. This team was different. I want to ask you about the starting pitching, specifically Max Fried, because he won them Game 6. He really did. I mean, aside from Jorge Soler's home run that I think maybe might have landed just
flew
now.
over,
just flew over the apartment. But Max Fried was terrific. How awesome was it to watch him finally be the Max Fried we know he can be?
I think for Max, it was just a very validating start. And when you think about where the Braves were just 4 or 5 short years ago when they moved into this ballpark, Max Fried was one of the guys that they were hoping at some point was going to come up from the minor leagues. They traded and got him from the Padres and would be able to play a part on a Braves team that hopefully would get to the playoffs, get to the World Series, and have some of these young homegrown guys, or at least these young minor league prospects, play a big part. And Max Fried was able to do that. Would have loved to have seen Mike Soroka being lockstep with him. I hope to see it soon, but we'll see how the whole thing plays out in 2022 and beyond.
I always like when Max Fried is compared to Sandy Koufax. I love that kind of talk.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm sure he does too.
For sure.
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll continue. It is a Braves day and night. It is a day to wear the hat. It is a day to wave the flag. It is a day to stand up for the A. We'll take a break. We're back right after this.